What's up, everyone?
Aye.
Hey, how was everyone's Friday or Saturday for Misty? All righty. I think we can start. So as everyone knows, I am Storm. I am your wonderful T1, who is deeply flawed, but I am still here. Cyrus is our war commander.
Hello.
We be essentially leading this town hall today. Originally we called this town hall, it's been in the works for about 2 or 3 weeks. Originally it was more focused on war council stuff that we wanted to discuss, but obviously with everything that has happened this week and weekend, it has expanded a little bit. So um, basically, we're going to do a little introduction just of some overall things that I would like to discuss. Then we will go into the different councils. They have all provided their comments that they would just like everyone to be reminded of. And we will end with Cyrus and War Council, which will be probably the largest section from a council to discuss things and questions at the end. If you do have a specific question to anything mentioned when we're talking about a council, just save it to the end of that council talk. And then obviously at the end, we'll take questions on everything. I believe this is being recorded. Obviously with my consent and hopefully everyone's consent, because legally that's what's needed. Sorry, the attorney in me is coming out. And yeah, and then we will also have another one tonight at 7 p.m. for our players that cannot make this. And after that, we will have Hovas is hosting our first annual Nova Nation night, which should be a fun time. We will also have BGs going on then. If anyone would like to do the Great Ranging and is not on cooldown, I'm sure we can find a spot or make a new team. So with that said, let us start. So, obviously, overall, listen, this weekend was crazy. We all know that. For many reasons, I don't think there's any one particular one reason to point out. Every weekend, with respect to PvP, we adapt, we learn. The simple fact is we are in the second hardest kingdom, probably in the entire game, with 1771 being the hardest. We know our lane, we know what we gotta do, we know what we're good at, we know what we're not good at. We just gotta keep on getting better and kind of view this as a growth kingdom. As we will be having another SYC probably in about 2 months. It's expected in about 2 weeks, we'll get the notification on what kingdoms will be in an SYC. And obviously, with every SYC brings change, brings new opportunities. So just keep that in the back of your mind. That will be coming up shortly. But the overall goal is, you know, we view, at least council does, view Nova from a both short-term and long-term, perspective and goals. We've been around for 2 kingdoms now. We plan to keep on growing, expanding, and truly become a family in every sense of the word. Getting to know everyone, getting to know everyone's, talents, what they're good at, what they're not good at, and that includes obviously, we have 3 banners. We have PvP Nova, we have regular Nova, and then we have Nova 3, which is mainly secondary keeps and alts. Um, you know, we're looking to keep on growing to become the team we know we can be. If you look at our roster, we have a shitload of talent. It's just a matter really of numbers and communication and coordination, and that's what we need to work on. Um, and we can do it. We just all have to buy into the same plan. I really, really, really ask everyone if they can, especially if they're on PvP. I don't expect everyone to be on every weekend. Like, that's crazy. But I do ask that you try to make it at least one 2-hour lock period a month. I think that's a reasonable request, especially if you're on a PvP team. And, you can find a role for anyone that is active. Signing up in advance in the availability polls is a huge bonus for us. But what's even more important is actually showing up if you sign up. For those of you that, don't sign up, you don't know, and you show up, that's obviously still very much appreciated and needed. And, we are kind of putting a new system into place that will ideally make it easier for us to organize, coordinate, and communicate during lock so we can get what we need done. So, firstly, I just want to say, everyone, obviously, 300 left Gravity on Monday, I guess Monday night or Tuesday, whatever. Um, there is now Mob. They are in the coalition. We are still in the coalition. The coalition consists of Gravity, Mavs, Nova, Mob. That means do not hit anyone on Mob at an SOP or a keep. Do not hit anyone from Mavs. Do not hit anyone from Grav. Do not hit anyone from any of their banner lines. If you see a ghost or boats, that's usually Gravity. 300, that's going to be Mob. Use common sense. And if you don't know, ask. The last thing we need is to infuriate, our main allies. Now, with, Mob coming over or Mob being recreated, we obviously lost some players. I wish everyone that left best of luck. Anyone that is still contemplating leaving, you got to do what is best for you. At the end of the day, if you don't feel like this is home or Nova's not for you, I respect that. I appreciate that. I think everyone on council does. We want people that want to be here. And if there's something that we can do to improve to make that be the case, tell us. We will do it. Open a ticket, pull someone aside. Everyone on council will listen to you. No one will ridicule you. At the end of the day, the goal is to make this a family, and be around in 6 years and all be together still. Whether you're F2P or you're a spender, we have went out of our way to try to include every single person or team we've taken into, so that no one's voice is not heard.
So
And
our mantra for this team and what we push for in leadership and what we've tried to create is a space to be able to be competitive and also a space for people that no matter where they're at are able to have fun in the game. So we have our PvP focused team. We have our Nova 2, which is less non PvP focused, kind of growth focused too, and then Nova 3, which is for very small keeps that are looking to build up, open up growth plans, and for alts to exist in a way. The mantra of this team, like, yes, we are competitive. Yes, we are trying to do more with PvP, but we're more than that. We're creating a community. We are creating a place where people can come and enjoy the game, because that's the most important part, is enjoying the game. But a lot of people, the only way they enjoy the game is having the PvP organization and focus. So you'll find that we are going to tighten up a little bit more on our PvP side of things. But that doesn't mean, if it's not for you, that doesn't mean that we don't have a space for you. We have these teams with a shared Discord, and we rotate in the weekends in order to offer everything for the more lax players, for the ones that don't want to be, tied up to entering stats every month, or, doing some available once a month or anything like that. Like, we offer a space for that, and still be able to come into the PvP team and play on the weekend and get all sides of that. So our main focus is always building the community, because if you build the right community, you'll get the right players in too. So it in turn helps with our PvP. It in turn helps with everybody enjoying the game. And we have a lot of people that work really hard to create this atmosphere, right? We're creating events, we're creating, these social spaces, where adding different styles into it. We're trying different things, and all of it. It's not just so, hey, we're trying to get a 3 star or 3.5. It's not the focus of this team completely, but it is the focus of the PvP team specifically. But again, any kind of suggestions, please feel free to open up in the right avenue, how to better enjoy the game, because that is our main focus as a leadership, to make this game enjoyable for everyone. We don't want to become the team that makes it feel like a job. Um, even on the PvP side, we don't want people to feel like they're obligated, like it's work, like they have to do this. But on the other hand, we also have to be organized. So finding this fine line of balance is what we strive to do. When we like to use encouragement more than anything, but we are having to stick to some regulations, basically, just to keep everything aligned. Because nobody enjoys getting on for the PvP side. Nobody enjoys getting on for a weekend that's unorganized, right? It's stressful. You people see that we could be doing so much more, and so there is a balance that we try to find as well. But there's always going to be, if you're an active player, if you're somebody that's putting into the team, there's always going to be, we're going to create that space for you to enjoy the game regardless.
Yeah, and just say, to go off what Sai said, I mean, we all play this game to essentially escape the real world, so it should be fun. It shouldn't be stressful. It should not be a job. Everyone should be able to come here, have a good time, regardless of what banner you're on, or what you're good at, or what your keep level is. Like, that doesn't matter to us. I mean, obviously it matters with respect to PvP and who we put where, but at the end of the day, the goal is to make Nova truly a family, where you can feel like you can say anything, and be respected, and no one's gonna shout at you, and this is where you want to go to enjoy yourself. Um, so with that said, obviously I ask everyone to continue to be their respectful selves, which everyone has been. Um, and it's gonna take time to grow, to mesh every time we get new players. Everyone has been amazing, and really great at teaching others, sharing their knowledge, welcoming others, and that's what we want to keep on going. Everyone's opinion here matters. It's represented in some way, whether you realize it or not. And that's the way we're going to keep on running things. But as I did say, we are going to ask the people that are specifically on the PvP team. We just got to tighten up some things, especially with respect to coordination, communication, commitment. And I will beg everyone, if you are on for lock and you can be in VC, You don't have to talk, but it is a game changer. And the more people we get in the VC, at the end of the day, the better our results are going to be. And that's just my pitch for VC. Huge advocate. At first, I hated it, but it really does make the weekend a lot easier overall. So, with that, I'm gonna want firstly say thank you to everyone. Truly, you're all part of this team, and it's been a really fun ride the last kingdom and a half so far. So we are gonna break down and go into our councils. So is Manbat here? Anyone from logistics? If not, I can read off their notes. Okay, so logistics comments. So please use the ticket feature if you have an issue to directly reach out to logistics. If you go to the bottom of our Discord, you will see that you can make a ticket for council specific issues, also small council. But if you ever do find yourself out in the cold, the easiest way to get that fixed is logistics. For shuffles, essentially our ultimate goal is to, just put up a roster on, let's say, a Monday and make sure everyone gets into their spot in a timely manner. Obviously we have a logistics team that will help provide cords. If you do drop, if you do decide to leave, just do the right thing and let them know so no one is out in the cold. That sucks logging in and seeing you're no longer on the Legions. So let's try to avoid that. We are working to improve our shuffle times, especially for our European players, so they will likely happen more in the midday. They will not happen on Fridays or during PvP. We will try to avoid major events so no one misses out on points.
Fridays are usually pretty good days to shuffle. So the issue Manbat was bringing up is that if we do earlier shuffles, a lot of the EST people aren't there to accept people yet. So we are working on finding a better time. We won't be shuffling during the big weekend events or anything like that. We'll be better about that. But we are looking for some type of time that's better for EU and EST where people aren't left out in the cold for so long.
Yeah. And, it just give us time. We're never going to find a perfect system. But it is what it is. And we're trying to group everyone together based on kind of time zones as well. That way we can kind of just pop out, T3 pods and move them as needed. Lastly, please make sure your game name is identical to your Discord. Your Discord name is identical to your game name. That way, God forbid, you're getting rallied or zeroed or you forgot your bubble or whatever, we can get a hold of you. It's frustrating when someone goes to tag, someone and no one knows what their name is and they're not showing up.
To touch base on the ticket system as well. If you're private DMing or you're reaching out to somebody on logistics, we have a team because not everybody's available 24/7. And opening up the ticket lets who is available, it lets the whole logistics team know about the issue. And that way, somebody that is available is able to get to it as quickly as possible. If you're messaging people in game, they may be at work, they may do anything like that. And please understand that none of us are available 24/7 on the game. So that's why kind of the ticketing system and why we have several people in each of the councils it put into place. And so it's important if it gets overwhelming when the same person gets DMs all the time and they have a whole team. They either have to, try to delegate, which is always, it feels weird to tell somebody else what to do, right? But the ticketing system allows everybody to kind of get a glance at it and whoever's most available to react quicker than any kind of private message or game chat message or anything like that.
Yep. So that's all we got for logistics. Does anyone have any logistic questions?
Yeah, it's brought up that Friday's mostly the best day, 12 o'clock, maybe. We've had some shuffles that have had to happen kind of on the fly that we haven't had a lot of time to prepare for. But what we're looking into, at least what I've heard from Manbat and logistics side, is looking into getting commitment for the people that need to pick up the applications. I think that's the biggest thing with these is doing an early shuffle on Friday, but knowing when somebody is going to be available to pick up the people they need to. So as long as it's not any kind of emergency, some kind of weird shuffle thing, we should be getting kind of confirmation times from the people that will get applied to, and that way it's not such a where they at, when they're going to be on, how long am I going to be in the cold. So that's one that we're kind of improving on that.
Yep. All right. So we will now go to statistics, which is really a sub council of war council, but we have a lot to talk about statistics. So you want to lead that?
Yeah. So we are going to tighten up on the monthly for the PvP team, the monthly submissions of stats. We're doing it in a bit of a different way in order to kind of spread out because it's the first of the month is when stats are gonna the stat announcement's gonna be due, and then the 7th of each month is when they're going to be due by. People are going to have a week if they haven't got back in there. They're going to be reached out by their T2, and they're going to have a week to get those submissions in. But we are going to a mandatory stat submission for PvP. So if you have 2 weeks time to get the stats in, that's a long amount of time to get it done. If that's something that's too committal for you, then Nova 2 would be the place for you to be. You can still rotate up for the weekends. You don't have the commitments of the PvP. But we do need to have these stats to best plan where to put everybody, where to have everybody at. And we're looking to make it a bit more streamlined and a bit more easier, but it's been a pain having to hunt people down, having to beg them to get the stats in, and as a requirement for the PvP side of things. So that we're switching to this different system. We are going to be implementing in more than top 50 or our placement of stats, best defense, best everything, just so more people are able to see kind of where they stand and hopefully encourage people to try to climb up. We have growth plans. We have Maester Towers. You can reach out. We'll also be doing office hours for each council member for to go over any kind of questions, anything you want to learn. If you want to go over your councils, if you want to go over some gears, if you want to go over bubble game techniques, anything of that nature. We're all going to have office hours a day of the week sometime, and these are the times that you're able to reach out and get kind of one-on-one and personal help. But the stats is important not only for placement and PvP, but it's also important to see how best to help in growth. A lot of people or won't even know, like, don't even know kind of where they're at with anything until they actually put them in. But it's a small commitment. It's a once a month commitment that takes 20 minutes at the most. I mean, I usually can get my stats in like 5. The sheet's pretty quick and all that, but we are going to start locking down on the mandatory stat inputs. And if that's a problem for you, it's not like, okay, well, you can't fight with us anymore. We're just wanting to get more of a commitment and more organization on our PvP side. And we offer Nova 2 for anybody that doesn't want to make those commitments. And you can come every weekend and fight with us and rotate in through that way. But be on the lookout for the first of the month post. Try to have your stats in for the PvP side by the 7th, And after the first crafting event each month, we will post our stat list for top stats as well. Let me double check Beal's notes and see if he had anything else.
Just T2s will be supporting that by using banner chat in game to make sure everyone knows, spread the word. Just a quick comment on, we only do post the top 50. We don't post the numbers. That is for a reason. We just don't want anyone to essentially stat shame. We don't want anyone to feel that their keep isn't good enough. War Council has access to those numbers. They are used in planning. But if you have a specific question about someone else, you can reach out and frankly, I'd reach out to that person directly. I don't think anyone has an issue sharing their stats. But it's more of a tool for War Council to know who on the fly is, in the top 10 of whatever, to plan, as well as for other players to look at and say, make it a competition, try to improve. That is the point of this game. Growth in small measures in the end leads to growth in large.
And if you're close to somebody in a stat, it's a great way to kind of forge connections, right? Like if you're right under somebody in a stat, like for me personally, I would reach out to them and be like, "Oh, where you at?" Just to try to see where I could to kind of catch up to that next level. For me personally, I'm right under Fent on defenses, so me getting just right above Fent is like a little goal, right? And it kind of motivates me to catch up to who's like right above me on things. So feel free to reach out to anybody that you're looking at a stat and you're wondering, man, how do I get up on this? Feel free to reach out to who's close to you and just see, how'd you get that? Or how do I improve this or whatnot? It'll get connections. You'll meet people that way. You'll get to know more about the game. So hopefully it actually um, create some of those scenarios is what I'm hoping, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, like for me specifically, like I know I need to beat Have so I can be in the top 5 in attack. But unfortunately, she is ahead of me. So Have, watch out! I'm coming for you. And then lastly, so for our chronic stat offenders, because like honestly, the numbers are not good with respect to people over the last couple of months who have just not submitted stats. They've said they would, they're just not doing it. So, this is it's not meant as a punishment, but like we need to have some sort of repercussion for just not doing it. So, we're going to give you, it's basically going to be a 3-strike system. We will give you a warning. Second time, we'll probably put you in Discord jail essentially and take away all the fun aspects of Discord. And, if it continues to be a systematic problem, you will be dropped to Nova 3 until you submit stats, especially if you're on the PvP team. It's just something that we need. We don't ask for a lot. It's a very simple process. If you don't understand it or you need help, we will gladly help you. That's not an issue at all. But that is really something that we're going to have to enforce just based on what's occurred over the last couple of months. So, next we have player development. I don't believe Medusa is here with us, is she? I don't know.
Yes, or
Medusa, you want
Sorry.
to, either
No,
Medusa.
she's not in here.
All right. I'll go through her notes. So obviously we have a player development council and section in the Discord. We keep every troop section updated with, the latest turret guides or Citadel information on, best gear sets, best enhancements, all that stuff. If you are looking to grow, the people on player development are probably some of the most educated players in the game with respect to how to grow properly and most efficiently. That includes Peacock, that includes Medusa. Peacock is our BG master and our head stag slut. And I'm sure he will tell you the first thing you should ever do is max out Rattle for the stags, because they are, they change the game and make it a lot easier to grow. I understand a lot of us are shy, but see, judge-free team, judge-free zone, no one is gonna ridicule you for anything about your keep. We are all here to make everyone better. We will rise as a team and sink as a team. So you can, if there's any specific thing, even I have a game growth plan, whether it's short-term goals, long-term goals, it does not hurt to put them out there. And that way, what you're trying to work towards, and you can prioritize whether it's heroes and rain cap, rally cap, marcher, whatever it is you want to be better at. That can be done.
And so we have Ask a Maester for any kind of quick, specific question you want to just throw out there that gets responded to fairly quickly. And I want to highlight the growth plans, not so much if you don't feel like you need help, right? The growth plan is still a great way to just organize your focuses. So, like building my keep, I find that I focus on my dragon for a little while, then I'll focus on building for a little while, then I'll focus on something else for a little while. And the growth plan is just a really good way to get that focus out in front of you and look at it and keep up with it. And you'll still find things that you didn't know in the game. There's so much going on that almost on a weekly basis, somebody just opens my eyes to some button or some different thing or some new way to do something. So even as like an experienced player, just I'd recommend doing a growth plan for whatever your focus is for, like, let's say the month, and just putting it out there just to see if somebody's like, oh, have you tried this? And you're like, what? Could do that. No. And so we have a lot of people that are very knowledgeable about it. So, you'll always something to learn from as many people as we have in this group. And just putting it out there, like but nobody's going to help you unless they know what you're trying to do, and it's a way to communicate what you're trying to do without having to bring somebody one on one or find the time to connect, and sit down and look over stuff. So I'd highly recommend the Ask a Maester for any kind of quick questions where you're like, huh, what's the best this for that. And then the Maester Towers updated constantly with best gears, best heroes, and opening the growth plan is just a good way to focus, because if you try to do everything at once,
You're
if
gonna
I'm trying to build and I'm trying to research and I'm trying to grow my dragon and I'm trying to do all of this, I don't accomplish much. Like my resources run dry pretty quickly. Um, so just putting a focus down for yourself tends to help with growth.
Yeah. And furthermore on that, we will, as Sai mentioned, we're gonna start doing kind of open office hours. So we'll have, someone every night available to, you can just pop in, ask whatever you want. Obviously, and if they don't know it, they will get you an answer back. But we will also be, we'll continue to do a lot of trainings. We'll continue to bring in as many top end crafters to show us, whatever method they use. So far we've had, Cajun in, Pecan, Section 8 did one. Um, anyone if you know anyone who's a great crafter and is willing to share their expertise, it'd be greatly appreciated. Let us know. We will continue doing trainings, and we can do trainings on whatever you want, whether it's bubble gaming. We definitely will have to do some on how to, properly rein. We will continue doing them on, bombing. We had one last week with we'll also have coalition trainings with Dragon rallies. That was great. They're not long, they're 30 minutes to an hour max, and you learn a lot. So, highly recommend, if you're around, you're available, and you see that. If it's a coalition training, it will be mentioned in coalition chat, and, we'll probably tell everyone as well. But that is something that, we will continue to work on. And then also just rally management and setup. We like to rally a lot of keeps, but when we do that, we have to do it in a certain way. It is frankly to protect and help all players, but depending on the power level, it's going to be drag rallies only at first. Because if you don't have a max drag and you're sending your troops, you're basically just killing them and zeroing yourself. So it really doesn't help anyone. And I think we all enjoy rallying keeps. I think we're 5 and 6 on the leaderboard right now. We'll obviously we want to shoot for better than that, but it's also a fun way to bring together the team. But we just have to do it in the right way.
And just to put a note on that out there, if you're somebody like me that doesn't have a dragon that can join keep rallies, it doesn't mean you just sit there and watch. You can still be a part of it. Your important role is to set the rallies about 10 seconds apart. So as somebody without a dragon, I can set the rallies, coordinate with the other teams, make sure you're not setting over, but so those dragons can join the rallies and you can keep them rolling every 10 to 15 seconds, all the way up through the 5 minutes, and it's still an effective way to be a part of the rallying without really affecting the hits on it and getting the best outcome you can on them. So just because you don't have a max dragon doesn't mean you can't join these rallies anymore. It just means that your role is just a little bit different. You're setting them so that these dragons can keep flipping through and hitting us down. Once it starts burning, a keep starts burning, it's a free for all. Join every rally, get it down. 150 million, somewhere around there is when it usually happens. But it doesn't mean that rallies are no longer something you can enjoy. It just means your role changes a little bit from just filling all these rallies up at once.
Yeah, and honestly, it will save you a lot of resources and dead troops. So that's really what we're trying to do. There's no point in zeroing yourself. Silly. So, that's what we have for player development. Just a quick reminder, obviously on Monday, we have, or I guess Tuesday, a new gear set coming out, which will be updated rain cap and speed gear. I highly recommend everyone obviously make your armory, but also focus on, if the way we do it, whoever has the highest rank cap is usually a seat holder. Now, just because you're a seat holder, doesn't mean you're gonna be. Ideally, you should not be holding on to that seat every single weekend. Um, if you can pass it off to, someone who reigned you or someone who was a stripper, I highly encourage it. Um, you wouldn't be holding that seat without those reins or the strip. And the team, that's what we're about. It's about sharing. It's about allowing everyone to grow. SOPs do help growth tremendously. So the titles, um, whenever I can, I try to put out the titles for every lock we do have. With their speed titles, attack titles, etc. They help for BG, help for farming. So just because you have the best ring cap on the team, don't be an SOP hog. That's my personal opinion. And I hope everyone kind of gets the vibe and understands why. So Next, we will go to Argo, which is our Alliance Recruitment and Growth Organization. Rao is not here. He is the head of that. But I am the second person in charge, so I will handle this. So obviously we are actively trying to maintain and grow relationships with Spartan, 300, Mob, every team out there. Obviously, we are in the coalition, so we work closely with Mavs, Grav, um, Mob, 300, and whatever lines they have. That's not going to change. We still will have the coalition chat. We'll still do bomb rallies there. Naps will still apply. However, we are always kind of, we have an eye to the future. As I said, we will have an SYC again in 2 months. Our goal at the end of the day is to build, a competitive team of like-minded players that want to have fun. So if there's anyone you know of, and you think is considering joining Nova or would like to, please let myself, Rao, Jay, or Cyrus know. We do have requirements, but we are flexible. We do have 3 banners, as Cyrus mentioned. If someone's going to be active, we can find a spot for them. That's never an issue. There are 1,000 things to do in this game that would help benefit the team. And then, I kind of mentioned this already, but if you don't want to be here, like, I totally get that. And, just tell us, and no one's bound to be here. No one will be upset. The only constant in this game is change. We're constantly looking to get new players. They're coming from other teams. So at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for yourself. But, just because you want to go try something else out, that does not mean that, you're not welcome back here. We don't like to burn bridges. We're going to be here, obviously, in our mind for the near future and the long future. So that's kind of where we're at there. And once again, we will have an SYC in 2 months. And as that gets closer, we will start figuring out, what's going on and what our plans are. And we will obviously make everyone aware. Probably have another town hall around that time. Well in advance of SYC, just to keep the entire team informed on everything that council is thinking about, who they're talking to, and what our potential options are. So that means Hovas is up next. Where's Olive? Olive, no. Ray, you want to talk on Hovas, babe? Yes, Missy, that is what Argo is. It's really not Argo. It was like aggro, but like I like Argo the movie, so we changed it. Um, yeah, Hovas crickets. Yes, I got that. Okay.
Ray's at work. Ray's at work. She says she can't voice.
So, Hovas, I've totally even forget what does it stand for? Can you type that, Ray? Yeah, but it's HR. No, it stands for something else, though. I don't know. It's like it's got a long ass name or something. But that's totally not what it means. Now I actually need to find out what the full name means. But yes, that
HR Novas, Hovas.
Yeah, no, but where is Olive's? Okay, here it is. It is the Heralds of Engagement, Value, and Appreciation.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yes, that is what HOVA stands for. So our head ho is Olive. Our deputy head ho is Ray. Then we have Amber, Dopamini, Mother Roddy's, and Patton. They have been doing a tremendous job with events, contests, anything that really can get everyone involved and in the team and to form, those bonds, those connections, and to make us truly a family. Today is going to be our first Nova Nation Day officially. It's going to be May 1st. And hopefully we will all be here in a year to celebrate it again. There are a lot of events going on tonight, including, I know there's a banner contest right now. And there'll be a bunch of other stuff after the 7 p.m. town hall. I also know with Breach coming up, we have a Breach event for, both banners every time. Unfortunately, we had this one guy who was, won the first 2 Breach events, lost the third one to Little Gaffer, but luckily Little Gaffer isn't here. So he plans to get his crown back.
Unless those holiday packs come after.
No, he saved up enough gold. He's good. He's good. He's gonna get his effing crown back. Be a 3-time champ. And I will also say, it might not be advertised, but pretty much a lot of the Hova events, do come with rewards for winning, gold, teleports, whatnot. So it does not take a long time. Just take a screenshot of your starting oaths and post it, and then your ending oaths. That's really all it is. If you have a bot, sorry, Round, you cannot partake because that's cheating. Hand farming only. So we are Hovas is always open to taking suggestions about events. Obviously not in this meeting, but if you have one, talk to the Hovas members. They're still looking to grow their team, so if you think you'd be interested in that, reach out to Oliver Ray. Currently right now, normally we used to do activity checks every Tuesday, and that was just to make sure like everyone was alive and we weren't missing anyone. Those are paused. We are working on a new system. But it is a requirement. We want to know. And as much as some people hate Discord, like I'll be honest, the only reason I ever got Discord was this game. But it's the main form of communication of learning. It really does. It's a necessity. And we ask that you do take the 30 seconds to, say who your liege is, your house level, your keep level, your armory, your power level, and answer the question. It just lets us know that you're actually here, reading, paying attention, and God forbid something actually happens to you in real life and we don't hear from you, we will obviously be concerned and worried.
So engagement is a very important part of duties of being on the team. The part of being on the team is engaging, right? If you're not engaging with other teammates, if you're just on and you kind of do your own thing, you're not being the team player, right? So these requirements for the engagement just let know, hey, I am here, I am part of the team, I am putting forth towards the everybody, right? And so it's just it's a minimal requirement of engagement that is just kind of a responsibility of being a part of the team. And so if you don't feel like it's too much or anything, that's not what we're about. We're about being here for each other. We're about supporting each other. We're about engaging with each other. And so these activity checks are a way for everybody to kind of see everybody, meet everybody, learn a little something through the question at the bottom. And it improves engagement, it improves community, and it also just lets us know I'm not just logging into my keep, doing my dailies and bubbling every day, because that's not the type of players that we want on the team. That's not the type of players that help the team at all or benefit the team in any way. And so that minimal engagement is super important, right? And it's not asking for too much just to engage in and once a month stats, engage in weekly 20 minute thing. Again, we don't want this to feel like a job, but we also want everybody to be engaged in the team that's here. Otherwise, it's not a benefit to have anybody like that on the team. So we're gonna try to keep it fun. We're gonna try to keep it, something that's enjoyable. And we are just tightening up a little bit on these said requirements, though.
And really, they're not. They don't take long. It's really short. It's not a requirement, but like theme of the week, one of my favorite things to do. You make an AI photo and you have fun. I mean that's how you bond. The closer we are, the better our entire performance will be, and the better team we'll have. And that's really what it comes down to. So, that is all we have for Hovas until later tonight. I'm sorry. 10 billion lore. That's like a present you gotta ask Tabris about. Sorry, Win. And now we will go to the star of the show, War Council, and we will have our War Commander, Cyrus, tell us what's going on.
So we have been kind of learning to mesh. We've had a lot of kind of newer players join in. We've gone through, and I've put out several different kind of styles of like game plans. But the issue that we're running into is the organization of the weekends. And so something that we're going to try to do moving forward is these captains. Because I think either me or Storm trying to move all the pieces and being responsible for moving all the pieces at once is a lot. So what I plan on doing is breaking people down into squads or little teams with captains involved, and so everybody just kind of follows their captain's lead. You'll still have the specific role, but the roles are important to have. So what we're running into is, I'll have, let's say, a rain team set up for an SOP. One person that had signed up just doesn't show up. Two people don't show up, and we're having to pull, a couple people in from who's available to that spot. Well, they were a stripper and they were, a rally setter. Well, now we're short on the strippers and rally setters. And so it kind of breaks down. The roles are important. We need our people rallying. We need our people defending. We need our strippers stripping. We need our people titling. We need all of these things going on simultaneously. And what's going on the weekend is, we're setting up to have this happen, but with the people that don't show, that signed up, and with the maneuvering of roles because of that, we tend to lose one of these aspects of it. So I think having these captains into place and being able to move roles between like captains and set groups, I think it's going to help with the organization. I think it's going to help with a set of 8 people knowing exactly where to move to, where to go. Yeah, we were here, but now we're going to have to go here. The plans changed, but we're moving as a unit. But it's really important to have these communications set up, especially people that don't sign up for the weekend or just kind of show up and we're asking, hey, can you come out of this SOP? Can you go over here? Can you do this? And not getting any communication back from that. It's, if it's something that you don't want to do, communicate that. If it's something that, if you're like, hey, I really want to do this, communicate that. Like, I don't want to defend an SOP. I want to rally. Okay, well, then we'll get you in that spot. We'll put you where you want to play. But it's really, really tough to be communicating and trying to structure these but from just me and Storm, and I just don't think it's hitting the spot because, frankly, it's just the direction's not being taken. And so I end up having 8, 9 marches into an SOP when I should have 4 and 4 other marches elsewhere. But again, I think it's just a lack of line of command, right? If I've got 50 people that I'm giving directions to, it gets lost somewhere. But if we move as units and we move in tandem with small groups and keep them kind of together with the same roles involved, I think it helps with that. And a more organized, when you know what you want to do, and I mean, you know what you're doing, and you're clear at what your team's trying to accomplish, the weekend becomes a lot more fun. Not just kind of going, well, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to jump in here to try to be helpful. But it's there's a clear disconnection between kind of trying to set up, because I'm putting out roles, I'm putting out game plans, but I'm not able to get it to be executed properly through. And this execution is imperative to being able to do more than what we're doing. And so, like, if we can get, let's just say, 10 people in VC for bombing, that's 20 bombs. We have a team of 30, 40, 50, sometimes join on the weekends, and we only have 7 in VC. If we can get that number up to 12 or 13, then we're able to do, 26 bombs, which is able to actually move some of these bigger teams out of SOP. So we're almost there. We're really close to being able to push out somebody from a 3-star, but we just need those 5, 6 more people in the VC. And it doesn't even have to be chatting in there. It's getting in there on mute. And getting these bombs filled requires more organization at our SOPs. If I have 8 marches in a single SOP when I can only have 4, when I can only have 4 and it be filled, that means I have 4 marches that could be filling bomb rallies. It's basically taking away from marches that could set, or marches that could bomb, or even another SOP that could be better kind of defended. And then when we don't have strippers, and the strippers have all joined, the bomb rallies, and they're filling a little too early, like strippers should be filling in like the last minute and a half. When they're filling too early, then all of a sudden we're getting hit at an SOP, and there's nobody to go kind of take that title away. So there's a good bit of organization that if we can actually start executing a lot better, we will yield much, much better results. So working on these separate groups, these captains, these, okay, I'm part of this group. I know I look to Uno, and Uno, hey, Uno, where are we going? Uno's like, all right, hey, my guys, we're doing this, or my girls, we're doing this. I think it's going to help a lot as far as the organization goes. And again, I'm trying a lot of different things. I could put the most rigid plan out that would be the most effective, but when you don't have people show, or when you have people show late, you've always got to have room. You've always got to have room to call an audible, and that's just the way it is. Sometimes something comes up. Sometimes life happens sometimes, and that's fine. But as far as signups go, no shows, I've had a lot, and I've been keeping up with them. I've had a lot of people that do sign up and do not show for the weekend. Please, please, please reach out. If you know you're not going to be there, if you know you're not going to show and you signed up, please reach out, even if it's an emergency and something after the fact, because it just feels like a slight when I put the time together to put you in the game plan, and had expectations for you to be somewhere, and then you don't show up that weekend, and then I don't hear anything from you during the week either. It's like, well, why did they even sign up? They kind of put us at, they kind of put us at a hard spot, because, we had planned on them being there. But again, it's, if stuff happens, right? But just try to communicate. And earlier the better. I can always adjust the game plan if it's before actual lock, or after. If it's like, hey, I had this come up, it's like, okay, well, thank you for being respectful and letting me know. So it's not just like, oh, they just didn't show, and maybe they thought I didn't notice, or something of that nature. But we're able to do our potential is way more than what we're doing, and it's because we haven't played together for years. We're still trying to learn a lot of different systems. We're trying to learn we're trying to learn how to communicate with each other, and we don't have that comfortability with everybody to be like, oh, I know him really well, I'm just going to talk to him. But we'll work on building that as well. So look out for in the game plans going out tonight. Look out for captains. The captains are going to be kind of who you follow, and you'll be following around in that group. And we'll be, me and Storm and a couple other kind of war council leaders are going to be directing, hey, we need y'all here, we need y'all here. Breaking it down into smaller little teams, smaller squads should lead to some better organization and hopefully a better time for everybody to enjoy. Nova 2 is actually starting to grow their own war culture. And that's something that I would like to build upon. Rotating up is something that anybody can always do. Anybody that signs up and wants to rotate up can do that. But there's a culture building where they're wanting to fight for, they fought for Baelish a few weeks back. And the people, we're all one big team, but you want to, the people that you're doing stuff with, they're doing stuff with, rally events through the week, and they're doing BGs with. Those are the people they want to fight with, and I'm fine with that, and I'd like to grow that. But I will need to be looking out for leadership, and I'm more than willing to cultivate that leadership. I'm more than willing to help with that leadership, and I'm more than willing to build upon that. And I think that's going to be a great addition to the growth of that community in itself. So we'll be doing rotations this week. Next week, I won't be around, but the week after that, I do believe that I'm going to try to go to Nova 2 and do a weekend with them, and try to cultivate that kind of leadership and that kind of growth over there. But if you are in Onova or you have any interest in doing that, I'll be putting out a post to try to get a war council put together. I will be helping and doing two separate plans, one for us at PvP and then one for them over there. But we do think I do think it's time to harness and grow that kind of culture within that team. And I think that will only bring good things to the lot of us, right? Like it'll be fun as heck for them, it'll give them little pride as well. And then eventually, when they get comfortable enough, we can, fight in tandem for different options and things like that. But growing a war culture over there, as well as tightening up our organization here, and moving forward with more training. There's rally bubbles that I'd love to get everybody trained on. There's glitch trains that I'd love to get everybody trained on as well. Sadly, I don't have a lot of time in the week to provide, so I am looking for anyone I can train on it or has knowledge of it. I will have my business hours on Friday, but not everybody's going to be available for that. So if anybody is willing to take up an hour of their day, reach out to me and we can get something like that set up, because that's going to build excuse me, a lot of confidence. It's going to if I can teach somebody and they can teach somebody and they can teach somebody else, we can all kind of get a little more in key about some of these advanced systems and some of these things that we could be doing better, as far as like SOP rating and bubble gaming and different things like that.
Yeah, I mean, we have that Paw video, right?
Maybe.
I believe so. So, I mean, that's a good resource. But I mean, like, if you look at our battle reports, you'll see 18 keeps in one SOP. you know, at the end of the day, this is a numbers game right now. We're working with limited numbers. We can get the same results with 5 keeps properly titled. So we just got to refine our play. It really is coordination, communication. As Sai said, VC is huge. If you're uncomfortable with that, I would highly recommend doing BG because most of us do VC for BG, and just get comfortable and used to it. It truly will help and make a big difference. And obviously next week, Sai, I know you won't be here, but we will have breach, so it'll be a much shortened lock period, 4 hours, I'm sure, because it'll be a nap. At 3 stars and above. Also, this weekend, if anyone hasn't seen yet, is Greyjoy Rebellion. So, we might be racing for it just for fun and shits and giggles, but everyone should, if you can, grab an SOP because that is how you get points and get your pawn shards as well. I'm a pawn shard whore, sorry. A whore.
So in order to kind of build upon these systems, this weekend I do plan on spending the whole 4 hours setting up at 2.5s and trying to clear out a 3. So mostly we do, because we can't. The reason why the first 2 hours of the end of 4-hour lock is us helping with the coalition. Number one, it gets us points. Number two, it takes pressure off the map. The more that the coalition has, the less likely Kingsguard or Paper are going to come hit our 2.5. More that they have, the more likely they are to come with their K40s and start whopping on our 2.5s or whatever we're holding. We're not to the point that we're able to hold for 4 hours, a 3-star or anything like that. It costs us a lot of resources. These K40s hurt a lot. And so the last 2 hours is why I don't really typically want to rain anything, because we don't want to get hit for 4 hours. Especially for a 2.5, right? Like a 2.5 could be taken anytime. We get in a 3, we're going to be targeted and we're going to be wiped out if we get into a 3 too early, or we're going to get bombed too many times. So a lot of people will be like, why are we doing this? This doesn't have anything to do to help us. Well, the 2 hours before the last 2 hours of lock it's kind of open for us because we don't want to be raining that long. So our objectives are not on the map. We don't want to take a 2.5 and get it fully rained, because then we'll just get the entire kingdom surrounding us, as you've seen many times happen before. Trying to hit us out of it. So that is a lot of the reason why I choose in the 2 hours, the first 2 hours of the 4 hours, correlate with the coalition, because there's just not much use that we can do for ourselves on the map. But the last 2 hours is when we can lock in. We've got plenty of time to get what we want, and we're not defending for too long. And again, I want to reiterate that the more pressure that, the more SOPs that we get for the coalition, the less pressure that we'll have at the end of the lock as well. I think it's important, especially after a weekend of only getting 1 lock and really wanting to hash out these organizations and these teams and kind of moving into our roles and sticking to those roles. We're going to spend the entire 4 hours of this lock just setting up at 2.5s and trying to clear out a 3. So it's going to be no coalition rallying, and unless we coordinate something with them as well. Which kind of sucks. Like they've got a lot going on. I'm sure they're looking for they're looking for support with everything going on with them. But I think we're better support focusing on us. If we can get what we have going on better, and I think it's something we do need to focus on is our organization and our mechanics. We can better help them in the long run. So it's not a completely selfish move, but we are we are Nova. We are Nova first. We are part of the coalition, so they are our allies. But we better ourselves, so we better the way that we're able to help out, and we need to get people. We need to get people excited, having fun. We need to get some flips. We need to get some things happening. We need to get some locks. Um, so I think it's a good move for not just us, but the coalition itself, for us to just kind of focus on us this weekend. If you're normally not into doing coalition bombs, so you only sign up for the last 2 hours, we will be doing bombs for a 3-star. We will be doing, OVA stuff the entire 4 hours. So I'll put a reminder out after this for signups, and just know that that's going to be our focus through the whole 4 hours is setting up at 2.5s and getting maybe a 2-star or a couple 2-stars, and bombing a 3 and just seeing how big these bombs we can get. Heck, we might not be able to clear it out right away, but if we keep bombing at it and then all of a sudden some more people join, if we can get 25 bombs up, so if we can get 15, 12 to 15 people in VC setting a 10-minute and a 5-minute, we can clear out any of these teams with these bombs. So we're just trying to get to that point. Those are the numbers that are going to clear out these lower seats. So we'll just focus on the mechanics of that, focus on getting our teams organized, focused on, rotating, stripping and keeping our 2.5s protected while the team is also rallying. And we'll go back to coalition bombs kind of when I feel more comfortable, maybe Storm has it the weekend next, or the weekend next, but we're not going to stop completely. But for this weekend coming up, we're going to focus on us. We're going to get us tightened up, and hopefully get a 3-star, right?
Damn right. And just a couple other things I will add. Obviously, with bombs, I mean that is why VC is as important as it is. If our bombs are not synced, I mean, yes, 30 bombs will work sometimes, but if we can get sync bombs, you know, they cannot get spam rains in at all, and that makes our bombs that more effective. So just being able to hear the countdown so we can all set at the same time, um, it's pivotal. I will also say, I know, when we do work with the coalition a lot, people talk about titles. I mean, last week we rallied Storm's End, without titles. And Vivi can tell you, if she put siege in any of her rallies, we would have taken Storm's End. It's when you're bombing with that many people, it's really about the number of bombs you have. Titles at that time are nice, but they're not really a requirement. Also our dragon rallies, dragon rallies do really matter. The whole point of them is to kill the dragons. And essentially the reason there is a time differential is to try to catch them out of gear. We've been working on that. Last weekend, we were able to get 6 drags into, Viv's rallies because she has 6 rally slots. And those were you can just look at the dragon damage done. 75% dragon damage to Denali. I mean, that's an impressive stat. So just because we don't have titles doesn't mean we can't be effective without them. And also, March size is huge. So whether it's March size research, whether it's Queen Mother set, whether it's a new set, when we do have recap month, which I believe is going to be in August, might be earlier, that is a gear set you should all focus on if you do not have it already, or you should try to make it better because it is one of the biggest game changers in the game. So yeah, that's really all I have, other than, once again, it's gonna come down, this is a numbers game. The more people we can get on in the last 2-4 hours, the more bombs we can get, the more seats we can hold. When we learn to properly reign, the better we can defend. We're in the second hardest kingdom in the game. We know that. It's just a matter of, we can also wipe out Outlaw, Spartan, these smaller teams easily if we are all coordinated and on the same page. And that's really what we're working towards, is that coordination and communication. So with that, I will open it up to any questions anyone has.
In chat, if you don't want to speak, it's perfectly fine.
Yes, we do enjoy Burning Outlaw.
What was the
Was
last gear
with,
set you said, Storm?
Queen Mother. The Queen Mother gear set is, as of right now, still essentially the best gear set for just base march size.
If you're titled, the percent gear is going to do more, but without title, the Queen Mother is going to give
Yes,
the most.
so percent pieces only kick in once you get up to about a march size of 330. Okay. So you really do need a title for that. And then those pieces will add a tremendous asset for you as well. But right now versus SOP, the best gear set is 3 pieces of the Queen Mother and 3 pieces of the new Dragon set. Obviously that will change as new gear sets are put out, but right now that is what everyone should focus on. March size, whether it's for BGs, SOPs, rallies, it means less keeps have to put less troops into an SOP, more SOPs we can reign and defend and attack. And I believe the Queen Mother is what, season 10 or 11?
Maybe 10.
Yeah. So season 10, and like I said, there should be recap month, should be either, I believe it's probably going to be August, because I think it's going to be rain cap, obviously next month, then rally cap and utility gear, and then it'll be recap month, and then it will start over. That's what it's been the last 2 gear sets. Hopefully they stay to that, format.
But if anybody's wanting to work with March size with what you have, feel free to catch me on my office hours when I post them, and I can go through with what you have and kind of experiment around with some things and see what the best setup is for you for right now. A lot of times I can people's flat march size gear in with some of the percent gears that they have, and with some mixer match we can find a better march size for it. So feel free to reach out to me or join me during my office hours, and we can go through and look. And almost every time I've gone and looked through somebody's, I've been able to increase their march size by like significant amount. So don't be afraid to reach out and we can check that out.
And also, don't forget about heroes, don't forget about building upgrades, enhancements. Those will also all, and armories will all add to your march size as well. And then lastly, like my office hours will likely be on Thursday nights when I can. It'll be open, come ask whatever you want, and I will provide you with whatever answer I can. And if not, I will ask the experts. So, anything
So
else?
Fox Cannibal, it looks like y'all just joined. We do have this session recorded, but feel free to ask any questions. Ask any questions that you might have.
Yeah, we'll also be repeating this later in 4 hours, and well, 4.5 hours.
Yeah, thank you, Cyrus, and So I just joined. I had work, so I'm just finished right now. I don't think I have questions so far, but if I have any, I'll just ask them.
Yeah, feel free. And like I said, this will be, this record will be posted. We will have another town hall later tonight for a lot of the people that are working. This day just happened to work because Sai was off, and I happened to be able to take a half day after court, so it worked out.
And, addressing a couple of the issues, Cannibal and Fox specific that I've mentioned. We are doing the whole 4 hours for Nova Cannibal this weekend. We're going to be setting up at 2.5s and trying to bomb out a 3. So if you normally don't sign up for the last 2 hours due to coalition, bombing not being your thing, know that we are going to focus on the entire 4 hours on Nova specific, just trying to bomb out a 3, setting up a couple 2.5s. Fox, we are getting a post out about leadership for Nova 2 and getting a war culture built there, along with a lot of different training sessions and things like that. And I will be not this weekend, not the weekend next, but I will be coming to Nova 2 to lead a war charge for the weekend on that weekend. And we're going to start building that culture over there. We're going to start getting some leadership into place, and we're going to start getting game plans, Nova 2 specific, for the weekends for you guys to enjoy.
Thank you. Sounds good.
And obviously, if, anyone ever does want to rotate up, just let us know and we can make that happen as well.
And then Cranky can attest to Hova giving space for any type of event that you have. He does, I think it's like a hide and seek thing.
Oh yeah, they suck.
that-
I want to kill
That
him.
that he reached out. He said, "Hey, I have this idea. Here's this cool thing that I do, and we've made a space for that to happen." And
Yeah, so just
so I
about that,
encourage anybody else to do the same. That if you have some kind of trivia deal or whatever you have that would bring a little fun, a little excitement, reach out and we will make the space for that to happen.
so I will advertise Cranky's Playhouse for everyone. Firstly, you have to roll in. It is a new role. But Cranky has been playing, he's an original single digit kingdom guy. I've been playing with him since, I don't know, I think my second week. Cranky likes to make, if you're a Game of Thrones nerd, he is your man. He makes some essentially scavenger hunt riddles that are so hard that I want to strangle him sometimes. When I win, I don't. But it is extremely fun. If you win, you will end up getting some gold as well. Cranky, I will front that for you. But there are a lot of cool things on this map that many people don't even know about. There are a lot of SOPs that you have never even seen, that are untakeable behind the wall, for example. But it truly is fun. You'll get, sometimes it goes on for hours or days. There'll be several hints that are riddles, and it's for the Game of Thrones nerds out there, or even the people that just play the game. I highly recommend it. You'll have a fun time, and it really doesn't cost you anything. And if you win some gold and some bragging rights. So, and if anyone has any channels they do want added in, whether it's duck hunt or whatever, let us know. We can talk to Ellie, who is our Elith, who is our admin extraordinaire, and we can get that done. This is your space. This is everyone's space. So if it's missing something you want, or you want to do something, movie night, whatever. Like I said, Hova's just kind of runs that. Reach out to them. Hova's is also our HR. So if you ever have a problem with another player or anything, that's going to be your main point of contact. And then they will make sure the issue is addressed by the appropriate people. All right. And lastly,
Just real quick to retouch on the captains. I will be reaching out for people to kind of take these positions. Feel free to say no if that's not something you're comfortable with. But we will work. We have like a sign up sheet for defense, for offense, for like VC coordination, and for like stripping. It doesn't mean you have to be on war council if that's something that you would be interested in, kind of leading the charge. The more the merrier. And so if I do reach out after I get the war plans set and I ask you to be a captain, but that's not something you're comfortable with, just let me know. I can figure something else out. And any of that nature. But we do need just a few more people kind of grouped together, kind of working in tandem, and a system of communication that's more specific to, so everybody doesn't know, everybody's not listening to two different people, and we're kind of more organized for the weekend. So if you look in chat, this is kind of like the basic kind of leads, but I'll be expanding on that as well, and probably grouping 8 people together at a time with kind of a captain, with who is signed up, and then just trying to get everybody to kind of move in a tandem. It might be like 6 or something like that. So it's like, okay, just for example, hey, cannibals group, go rain this SOP. Um, or, hey, Uno's group, go move from rallying to stripping because we need strippers now. So it's just a way to kind of compartmentalize groups of people, give them kind of a team to work with, and keep them more organized within roles so that we don't completely lose roles and have to scramble to try to, hey, who can do this? Hey, who can do that? Can we get somebody over here? And they're already doing like 3 or 4 different things.
yeah. So, Sai, correct me if I'm wrong, but just to better kind of explain it. So obviously we will have our regular offensive and defensive leads. Underneath them, then we will have captains who will be assigned certain players. So essentially, those players, whatever your captain says, that's what you will do. That captain will receive direction from, whoever the lead is, whether it's with defense, offense. And once again, that's why, the leads will be in VC and be able to instantly communicate with each other. And once again, it will allow for more coordination, communication, and us to get what we need done and less chaos. Is that essentially a good summary?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good, and a lot of the important parts is keeping the same people in the SOPs for raining. So if I have like a group raining, an SOP, they're gonna rain one other SOP, but keeping them together, and so you don't have several different people, several different combinations of people in different SOPs. It gets a lot harder to kind of switch those reins around. It gets harder to get heels out. So a lot of the focus I do for these reins, and why I'm so specific about, hey, same people reign here, is because it makes a lot easier to manage those reins, and keep those reins as optimized as possible. We still will have people come and help out. Let's say we're getting hit really hard, but it's gonna be specific people that kind of help out, and that way we don't have somebody that has 4 marches and different SOPs and can't ever heal and can't really get to the places they need to be to redo their reins and stuff like that. So you'll hear me calling out saying, hey, I want you guys to reign here and one other place. Try to stick with that group, because that group is going to stick together, strip for what they need together, re-rain, pull, do the things that they need to do, be looking out for rallies across, and calling for help. But Having these teams grouped already from the get go is I think going to help with that, so that we're not spread out to 7 people all in 4 SOPs, all in different SOPs than each other, and it gets really hard to coordinate the reins that way.
Hey, there is an introductions page. I mean, we can make a new one, or we can just reintroduce ourselves. To answer your question. And also, if anyone is interested in being a war captain, you know, just reach out to any
Sorry.
war council.
Okay, I think I've just missed a part where Cyrus were talking. I'm sorry, I got a call when you were saying that we are bombing seats. This weekend.
So this weekend we are, with everything that's going on, we feel that it is best to have a more Nova centric focused weekend. So we will not be doing much with the coalition this weekend. We'll be doing our own thing the entirety of the weekend, especially in the last 4 hours.
Sorry.
Yeah, last 4 hours. So normally we hours till 2 hours till. Normally we're doing coalition bombs, and the reasoning behind that is because the more they have on the map, the less pressure we have in the last 2 hours, and also we are we're not to the point where we want to rain something for 4 hours as much as we're targeted. As many K40s come and just whop on us. But this weekend, after only getting 1 lock last weekend and trying to work on this new system of captains and trying to get our organization in place, the entire 4 hours we're going to be setting up at 2.5s and coming out at 3. That is going to be our goal, is to have a couple of title ladders set up of rainers and getting as many people in VC to set these bombs and getting that number. We want to get that number up to 25 or 30. If we can get 25 to 30 bombs set and and get those filled, we're going to be able to push these teams out of their 3 stars and things like that. So we're just going to focus on our systems. We're going to focus on our organization. We're going to put the coalition help kind of on the back burner. So if normally you only sign up for the last 2 hours because you don't want a coalition bomb, feel free to sign up for the 4 hours, as we're gonna be rolling bombs the whole time.
Okay, I think that sounds better. I'm usually up to bombs. It's just that that usually it's time I'm working. Bombs are easier, but that's why I usually just defend, because it's just easier to throw the reins, especially if we're not like focusing on specific seats that we are bombing and we are moving. But I think I'll have more time this weekend to join the bombs. The
Yeah.
last 4 hours. So
Just let me know, because you could be real useful defending as well if that's what you're restricted to. So just let me know how your time goes. Love to see you in the bombs. Love to see you holding the titles, or help to protect the titles for it. Or even if stripping. If you're like Fent, you like to just teleport around the map and strip everybody. I'd like to put people in the places they want to be rather than the places they're most effective. So just let me know, and I'll utilize you the best way.
I think I'll be available for attacks, whether it's stripping seats or joining rallies. Usually, like, I also feel that training is the most effective when I see seats are not fully rained or are not optimized. That's why also I love raining, or I go to raining. But if we have the rain set up and I can free my marshes for attack, it's gonna be easy for me to just join.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just keep communication up, and we'll work on our systems. We'll work on our communication. We'll work on keeping organized, and I think it'll be a fun 4 hours.
Yeah, hopefully. I'll be free for most of it, just like maybe half an hour when I finish work. And even when I'm driving, I can just throw some marches and rallies, so it's gonna be easy for me.
Hey man, I can't condone driving in Gotten, but I won't
Yeah,
stop it either.
I do it all the time.
I was thinking
Just
double set drive. It works.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good to me. I think I'll just need to leave right now. I'm sorry I didn't attend from the beginning, but hopefully
Yeah.
I'll be available in the next town hall for most of it.
Yeah, and we'll have it recorded. So if you can't make it to that, if anybody couldn't make it or miss most of it, we'll have this recorded to go back and listen to as well. We're gonna work on going back to recordings and stuff. We're gonna work on posting more recordings for trainings so that even if people can't make it, we'll have a space where they can go, oh, okay, I see. So be on the lookout for more, bubble game recordings, training recordings, crafting recordings, so that it frees it up for whenever somebody's available to have that information.
Yeah, that sounds very good to me.
So that's about all we got. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, obviously this will be recorded, will be posted. We'll do this all over again in a couple hours. And, the main takeaways obviously are, we want to build our culture. We want to continue to be a family, on the social end. And then with respect to PvP, coordination, communication, teamwork, VC. We have the talent. It's just getting the numbers out. That's what we got to do. All right. Everyone have a great day then.
Nova Nation, good night.
Oh my God.
Thank y'all for joining. Appreciate y'all.
Okay.